Hello, beautifuls. My name is Quavia. I'm the creator of Juju Time. I am an oracle, a mystic, and an Afro-Indigenous witch that's basically on a mission of reclaiming and learning about Afro-Indigenous practices and beliefs. I welcome you. It's been actually quite a long time since I've made a video talking about herbs and magical things such as this. So for today, we are going to be talking about the magical properties of hyssop, and I'm really excited about it. So let's get started. So, some foundational information about hyssop. The leaves are quite bitter. They have a slightly minty flavor, which makes sense since hyssop is a part of the mint family. I find that this herb is very nice to add to your garden because it's fairly low maintenance. It loves sun. It loves a well-drained soil. Trust me, do not give it excessive moisture. It does not like that. In regards to its planetary and elemental associations, hyssop does tend to be associated with Jupiter. However, since there are plants that can be ruled by a planet and a zodiac, hyssop tends to be associated with the zodiac sign Cancer, which could mean for me that there are close associations that hyssop has with the moon as well. In regards to its elemental correspondence, many sources would suggest fire. However, I have this herb in my apothecary, and when I'm holding it, when I'm using it, smelling it, I don't know, it doesn't resemble or feel like my herbs that are clearly fire herbs. It has a more of an air quality to me, an air essence, when I tend to hold it and use it. In this magical herbalism series, we don't get into the medicinal properties of the herbs, but more of the magical, the energetic properties instead. But I do want to mention that medicinally, hyssop has been written about since ancient times. The Romans drank hyssop infused wine as a digestive, which they may have learned that from the ancient Egyptians, because the ancient Egyptian priests are said to have used hyssop to purify their food. But magically and energetically, hyssop is among the list of ancient ritual herbs. It's been used for millennia for cleansings and consecration. And actually, hyssop is mentioned a good few times in the Bible as well, which we're going to get into a few of those times. First, I found it in King David's prayer. In Psalm 51:7, it says, "Cleanse me," or purge me, depending on your version. "Cleanse me with hyssop and I will be clean. Wash me and I will be whiter than snow." I also found it in Exodus 12:22. It says, "And ye shall take a bunch of hyssop and dip it in the blood that is in the basin, and strike the lintel and the two side posts with the blood that is in the basin. And none of you shall go out at the door of his house until the morning." Basically, this, for those that may not know, basically this was instructions that were given and that were needing to be followed for protection. depending on your source, depending on the Bible that you use, or your own knowledge, it was protection against the Lord, protection against the Holy Spirit. I've even seen one that says protection against death. Basically, it was protection from a spirit, for lack of a better word, so that way the spirit can pass over them and not smite them. And for those that did not follow this instruction, I believe a certain family member would be made to pass away. If that ain't witchcraft or spell work or whatever you want to call it, then I don't know. I really don't know. I also found hyssop mentioned in Leviticus 14:4. It says, then shall the priest command to take for him that is to be cleansed 2 birds, alive and clean, and cedar wood, and scarlet, and hyssop. It continues to mention hyssop. For example, it goes on to say, and the priest shall command that one of the birds be killed in an earthen vessel over running water. As for the living bird, he shall take it, and the cedar wood, and the scarlet, and the hyssop, and shall dip them and the living bird in the blood of the bird that was killed over the running water. And he shall sprinkle upon him that is to be cleansed from the leprosy 7 times, and shall pronounce him clean, and shall let the living bird loose into the open field. Interesting. I feel like I've just read you guys a ritual. Oh my goodness. Rituals in the Bible. I should definitely make some Patreon videos regarding that, because wow. Okay. Anyway, I cannot believe I just read that, to be quite honest. I don't even remember that. Oh, that's interesting. I'm going to have to continue reading that passage just for curiosity's sake. But anyway, and lastly, if I remember right, hyssop is the sacred herb that was used to pass the vinegar-soaked sponge to Christ at the crucifixion, or perhaps it was his last drink, and the sponge was attached to the hyssop branch. I don't recall, but we do see hyssop showing up again. And as you can see, it's mentioned several times, a good few times, for its purifying properties. However, I do want to mention that there are some opinions that suggest that hyssop that is mentioned in the Bible is not hyssop. Some scholars believe that there could have been a mistranslation, which I think is an understatement, because there are a lot of things that were mistranslated. But basically that there could have been a mistranslation from the Greek and Arabic word, which the Greek and Arabic word, it simply means holy herb. And when I discovered this, what I found interesting is that 2 herbs popped into my mind. The first is holy basil, which is different from basil. Holy basil and basil are 2 different things. And the second thing that came into my mind was vervain, because another way that you can call vervain is holy herb. And you can also call vervain wild hyssop. So I find that very interesting in regards to this mistranslation with holy herb being the actual word, the possible actual word that was once used. But overall, the English translation, it became identified as hyssop, and because of this, the herb got a holy reputation because of these biblical endorsements. We even see, like, later on in the Middle Ages, that it was said that the presence of hyssop repelled the plague, and brought purity to the home. So we can see some correlation here from the biblical verses of what we just read and how it was later on used, for example, in the Middle Ages. But despite the possible mistranslation, and because of these biblical endorsements, as I mentioned, hyssop has a reputation of being a purifier. Magically, it is used to bring clarity, calm, and equilibrium. And because of this clarity and calm and this equilibrium energy that it has, it is said to really be able to stimulate creativity and assist in meditation. There are a few that uses hyssop for its protective qualities in protective charms, for example. And I can definitely see how it can be used in a protective way, but it is most known and is mostly used as a cleansing herb. You can infuse hyssop in floor washes. You can use it in your ritual baths to cleanse and purify, which to note, in your ritual bath, you want it to wash over you. You want it to wash downwards, okay? Not necessarily be sitting in it as a way to cleanse and purify. You can also use hyssop to perhaps cleanse your ritual tools or clean your altar. That is all a possibility. It is said that, well, it is possible that hyssop, because of its cleansing, purifying abilities, its properties, it does have a way of clearing away, for example, quote unquote, sins, but regrets and worries, especially any sort of regret or worry that may be blocking your spiritual progress, which is definitely useful as in a sense of being able to, once again, if you're using it in a ritual bath, or if you're cleansing your altar with it, this can definitely be a sense of the first step that you can take to cleanse something to open up something else, if that makes sense. But in a part of its washing away properties, it is said that the herb can be used to wash away the stain of negative spells. So it's not just clearing the path of any sort of blocked spiritual progress, but in any kind of stain that you may have on yourself, its ability to wash it away. You can use hyssop in oil, in blessed water. I mean, the list goes on, to be quite honest, of how you can utilize this herb. But if you do feel that it's more of a cleansing herb and a purifying herb than a protective herb, it is very nice to pair it with or use it before using a more protective herb. So there's so many combinations that you can really tap into your spirits to get instruction on how you could use this herb in your own practice. But anyway, this is what I wanted to share with you regarding this herb, regarding hyssop. After such a long time, it feels good to add this to the magical herbalism collection. Though I definitely want to talk more about, I do want to talk more about herbs and their magical properties, of course, but I think I want to expand it beyond herbs because there are a lot of other things that have magical and energetic properties that you can work with. So perhaps, I don't know, I'm really toying with maybe calling the series Magical Portals instead. I don't know, but definitely stay tuned and you'll definitely see that progression if I choose to go down that route. But okay. In the comments below, let me know how you like to use hyssop or what you like to pair it with. I'm very curious, and I look forward to reading those comments. I thank you for your time, and until the next one, truth and love, beautifuls.